Welcome home, Cojourners. I'm glad you're here for another episode. I'm Dr. Thema, licensed psychologist, ordained minister, and sacred artist, here to help facilitate your journey back home to yourself. And I am so glad that we have our special guest here, author, writer, healer, facilitator, all the things. Arielle, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I want to tell our listeners, our Cojourners, more about you. So Arielle Estoria is a multi-passionate poet, actor, author, and speaker whose work lives at the intersection of storytelling and soul, with a mantra of words not for the ears, but for the soul. I love that.
Thank you.
Arielle creates transformative experiences through performance, poetry, and presence. She has shared stages with Cirque du Soleil as a performer for Marriott International, served as poet and emcee for the Yellow Conference 4 years running, and led workshops for Princeton University graduate students. A Sofar Sounds Los Angeles artist with over 10 shows across California, Arielle has also worked as a teaching artist with Get Lit, I like that, and facilitating writing workshops for incarcerated youth and adults, helping individuals tap into freedom. Her artistry has been featured in Essence, Pop Sugar, Own, and Well Good. Her latest work is The Unfolding, and it is a hit. Yeah, let's hold it up. An invitation to come home to yourself. So this is perfect for the homecoming. We're going to be talking today about that invitation to come home to your full self, not rejecting your fullness. And so embracing being what some might say is too much.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that. Be all that you are.
Yes.
Be all that you are.
Yes.
Well, Arielle, we usually start with a poem or a reading.
Yeah.
And so I would love if you would read us something from your book.
Yes. Okay. I was going to say, I kind of want you to tell me.
Yes, I would like wildflowers.
Yes. Okay. Okay, yeah. This is a letter for the wildflowers who hear the music that no one else does, who dance to the rhythms of discomfort and uprooting, the wildflowers who choose to rise from the dirt and face the sun as if their lives depend on it, stretching themselves towards joy, no matter how knee-deep in the dirt they are. Wildflowers, often mistaken for weeds, their beauty skipped over unseen, and yet they still keep growing with no permission needed because they have come to terms with the reality that they were not made for anyone else's approval. They exist freely without human intervention. They grow where they want to, they go where they want to, and they dance because they want to, with no apologies.
Yeah.
I wonder what the flowers think of us. I wonder if they'd whisper to us, we know what you're really here for. You want to escape. You want to escape outside of yourself, but there has been just enough sunshine laced in between your bones, made up of water and soul. You are just as bold and bright as we are. The only difference is you don't live like you know it yet.
Ah, yes. Yes, to be all the way wild and so many times not living like we know it.
Yeah, this poem is so funny. We went to the wildflower fields, kind of up in, the Valley Mountains area.
Yeah.
It's a drive to get there. And we went through we went during COVID and it was blocked off. And I'm pretty sure I was PMSing. So when we got there, I was sobbing. I was so sad that I couldn't witness the flowers, but even deeper, I was just grieving the loss of things at the time. I was grieving opportunities that we were losing. My husband and I were supposed to get married. There was just such a sense of grief and loss. So we get there and everything's blocked off. I can't see the flowers. And my sweet, sweet husband, my sweet, sweet partner is driving around trying to find little patches, just trying to find something so that he doesn't take me home crying. And he finds a little patch and we have like a little patch of flowers. And I write this poem because I was like, what was I actually looking for.
Yeah.
I wanted to dance in the flowers.
Yeah.
I wanted to feel something. I wanted to be human again.
Yeah.
I wanted to be outside. You know, I wanted to feel free. I wanted to feel like I could dance because I want to. And so, yeah, they kind of talked, the little patch we found kind of spoke to me. And that's where that poem came.
Oh, I love that. And I'm thankful that he got you to that patch, right? So that then we could hear this story.
Yeah.
And I was excited to learn that now you're working with girls, helping them to bloom and embrace being wildflowers. And tell us a bit about your girlhood, your journey to where you are now.
Yeah, I always tell people that I wasn't the person I am today. Are any of us. You know, my kind of visual that I give people. As a little girl, I had an alter ego. I called her Erica Wallace. My godmom loves to tell this story. I don't know who Erica Wallace was or where she came from, but anytime there were guests at the house, anytime anyone was around, Erica Wallace came out with her clicky heels from the dollar store and her little microphone with the little spring inside of it, you know, her feather boa, and she was making up songs and she was performing. You know, last Christmas, my family and I were watching old videos, and you just hear this little girl always in the background, "Daddy, look at me. Daddy, did you see this? Daddy, did you?" And I'm like, oh my goodness, I knew I was going to be Arielle Estoria before I became Arielle Estoria. And then I got older and I started hearing narratives about how I can't be in my body. I was taller than mostly everyone around me, curvier than everyone around me, you know. So then I started to do the shrinking thing that we do until I got to high school and I started tapping more into arts, and I found myself again. And I found that creativity again. But my teenage encapsulation is me in a black shirt from the men's section of Walmart or Target. And it said, "Out of my mind, be back later," in this very aggressive text. It was a men's shirt, so I cut a hole in it because I have breasts. And then I had a camouflage skirt from Costco. And so I wore things where I literally hid. I literally allowed myself to just shape shift into smallness and into shrinking. And it wasn't until I found the arts, and now even more so as I'm like in my 34-ish, 34 year of life. I'm like, oh, colors are my love language. Colors are how I found myself, you know, and it's always a question of, is this too much? And this mantra going into this year was that you get to be too much. You know, every day that we are alive is the occasion. So yes, I will be wearing a tulle skirt randomly, you know, I will be dressed up because that is how I know myself to be and how I operate. And it's such a gift looking back and being like, oh, I undid the smallness. I untethered myself from the shrinking. And every day is still the journey to do that. But I'm thankful for the journey.
Oh, I love that the arts help you to tap in and expand, to embrace yourself. And then the messages around like height and body size were, you know, so you were out at first, right? You were the little girl with the microphone.
Little girl with a microphone.
And then
bubbly. And then you start to go inward, and you go inward because you get the narratives that you know, women can't speak, and, you know, this is your role, and that you're too much and you feel too much. And so all of those things start to be inundated, and you start to wear it physically, emotionally, spiritually, and it's just in. And then I found the stage, and I found poetry, and I found theater. I found theater first. And it was like, okay, well, I can be someone else then. Maybe I can be bold and big as someone else. You know, I can be hard and stern like Nurse Ratched, but Arielle is not that, you know? And so I first found theater, and then through theater, I found poetry, and the poetry was me. The poetry was my heart, my intention, my bigness, slowly starting to come out through the work. And then they became an integrated sense. But it was theater first that was like, okay, well, at least I can be someone else. And be all the things I actually want to be. But can't. But as a stage, you know, as a character, you can't be faulted. You can't, it wasn't me. That wasn't me. That was Nurse Ratched.
Now, when you were shrinking, were you aware of it, or what helped you to realize that I've gone inward?
I think at the time, I don't know if I was aware of it. Now I look back and I'm like, oh, I breathe different now, which means in reverse, I must have been suffocating then.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was until I found, I say my permission slip people, people like yourself, people like my husband, people like mentors who came, just start trickling through my life to just open some things, offer the permission slip to be a little bit more, that I started to like breathe a little deeper and through my actual diaphragm. And so I'm like, oh, I was suffocating. Like I was not breathing to my full capacity. I was not existing to my full capacity.
Yes.
And I only know that now because I know the other side of it, you know? But at the time, I don't think I knew I was shrinking. I think I just thought this smallness is me, knowing that it wasn't. There was always a part of me that always felt very like, you know, I was that kid who would drive and every moment was a music video, you know, the rain falling down, you know, like, you know, I had a slightest heartbreak and I'm laying on my floor, listening to Dreaming with the Break. Like, I always knew am I the drama? You know, like, I always knew the bigness was there. And yet there was a part of me that was like, well, it must be the smallness then. That's all I'm seeing right now in that season. Yeah.
And in the beginning, you told the story about your husband and the flowers. And I think about that because sometimes the messages women get is that you have to shrink yourself to be chosen, to be acceptable, to be loved. And so I love that you're living your fullness and being loved.
Yes. Oh, that is such a gift to be loved for the whole of who you are. And I told him that when we were dating, because those were the narratives I was getting, that we're a lot, you know, we're strong women and it takes a lot to love us, which is just so limiting, you know? And then after so many times, he was like, you have to stop saying that. Like, you're not too much for me. You're perfect. And how we say perfect to each other is the definition of perfect is as great and as good as it could be. We've added other elements to perfection. And so he was like, you are everything to me. You're not too much. You're perfect. And he would love the parts of myself that I would be like, oh, my hips, my dimples, you know, my things. And he was like, yes, you know, love, you know. And so to be loved, that whole is a healing in itself of, you know, I will get dressed and I'll be like, this is too much. And he goes, for who?
For who?
For who?
Good.
This is who you are, you know, and he teases, you know, like, you don't have a simple outfit in your body. Like, this is casual. For me, I'm actually, please, you know, like, that is leisure for me. So he knows me well. And to be able to be your whole self with someone is just such a gift. It really is such a gift. And someone who's not afraid of it, not intimidated by it. You know, I remember the last couple dates I went on before meeting him, and we were at a local restaurant, and I kept running into people I knew during the date, you know, and he clocked all of it clearly, you know, sent me a little text the next day, had a great time. I don't think, you know, I see this past what it is. I hope I can be as famous as you one day. I said, oh, so you're insecure.
Yes.
And I just, great.
Right.
Removed. Moved out the way because that has nothing to do with me and everything to do with you. And now I have a husband who's like, that's my wife. You know, like, yep, that's her.
Right.
Yep, she does that.
She's
like
she's soaring.
He's so such my biggest cheerleader and my biggest support. And he's not intimidated or insecure by that, you know, or my follow count or whatever. He just wasn't affected by it, you know, and that was just so much permission and so much space to lean into, fall into. My wholeness is welcome here. My wholeness is loved.
My wholeness is welcome here.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good.
Thank you.
That's good.
Yeah, my wholeness is welcome here. Like, all of me is enough, not pieces of me. Because we have so many conditional love spaces that taught us only this part of myself gets the whole love.
Right.
But there's a whole other part of who I am that's being missed here or not seen here.
Right.
And the fear of if I bring it to the table, does the love still
go away? Yes. And so now that you're facilitating this process with girls, what is that pathway like?
Oh, it's so fun. I remember I did a lot of work, you know, prior with young girls in my own unfolding season. And I actually got removed from one of the speaking opportunities because I was posting in my, you know, swimsuit and posting in, you know, and it was the narrative of, well, we don't want the girls to get the wrong idea. And I'm like, that they can love their bodies.
Right.
That's crazy. So I told the facilitator then, I said, I refuse to be a part of work that makes another generation of girls and not be at home in their bodies. And if that's what you're asking me to do, then yeah, we part ways here. And so now I get to tell little black girls, little brown girls, you are beautiful. You are amazing. You are enough. And they say it back to each other. And I make them look at each other and say it because I refuse to be a part of instilling another generation of women who don't love themselves, their whole selves, who feel like they have to shrink. And so being able to do that now, like I was sharing earlier, every session I want to cry. One, because I'm returning back to this work and it's been a long time. And two, because if I had had this then versus being told that my body was sinful, I couldn't show any part of who I am, I had to hide, I had to shrink, being able to tell the opposite narrative so that they can walk into this world. I have a 5-year-old niece and she is so big. And I'm like, please stay big. Please stay big. Please stay big. Because everything will come at you.
In presence and voice and
please stay big. And that's what I want to give to the girls every time we teach. Stay big. Take up space. People were talking about, you know, Miss Shirley Chisholm, you know, if they don't offer you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. So I had them open up their arms and I'm like, take up space. Take up space. I'm like, move again. Take up space. Take up space. Like,
I love that. Now, what has it cost girls and women who never get to take up space?
It costs us our voice. It costs us our sanity even. I think you look at women, you know, and just the whole history of facilities that were housed for women who were going crazy and not in their right mind, when I would say probably 90% of them were 100% in their right mind. They just were not having the audience and the people to hear them fully. And when I think about that, it costs us our sanity. It costs us our bodies. I see a lot of women, you know, headaches, allergies. Those are little things where our bodies are like speaking to us. You know, it costs us our health, and it costs us our freedom. It costs us our rightful wholeness and belonging, right? Because we talked about the conditioned aspect of it. So the fullness of it, it costs us that. And I do think we get to a tipping point. I think that's why I love older women. You have reached those maybe 40 plus where they're like, I'm not doing this.
Right. I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to wear what I want.
I have this poem where I say, like, I love women who walk like they owe the world nothing because they don't. Because they don't. And I think eventually we do get to that tipping point. Later, I think, than I would like us to. But it costs us so much more than we know. But on the other side of that fear, that hindrance is our freedom. We just got to get to the other side. But it is scary. You lose a lot along the way. You lose people along the way. But I think you also lose a lot of dead weight. So you can get to the freedom. You know?
And I love that truth telling that when you take up space and find voice, yes, there will be people who love the wholeness of you, but there'll be people like that job that withdraw and that it's okay, right? It's like, let that, or the guy on the date, right?
Yes.
Let them be released to make room for those who will honor the fullness of who you are. And you mentioned, before we were talking about like height and size, but then you mentioned the word sin. So like that this body is sinful. Can you say something about that messaging and the
Yeah. I mean, I have a poem. It's called A Prayer for the Church Girl. And it was basically off of Beyonce's Church Girl, but I was very affected by it, you know. And I say, you know, they taught us to hate our bodies because supposedly that's where the devil lives. But we learned that we were in there too. So call this a homecoming, call this a return to the bodies we've always had. And we're never given space to call them ours. And so for me, a lot of my...
Let me just pause on that. That was really powerful, right? That if the flesh, the body, if we say that's evil.
That's evil.
Then where do we go?
Where am I in this, you know? And it's like, well, we're a soul or we're the thing
but can't
in the body, but we're like, but right now we are a body. We are a soul entity within a body. And the body is a home. The body is a safe space. The body is a beautiful, we called it a temple, but we weren't allowed to be in the temple. You know, there were just so many different narratives. And so it's like, you know, they taught it was evil to be wanted, so we didn't even want ourselves.
Say that again.
They taught us it was evil to be wanted, so we didn't even want ourselves. Taught us how not to be in our bodies at all, because supposedly that's where the devil lives. But we learned that we were in there too.
We're in there.
We were in there too.
Yes. And so coming home to ourselves, not just in spirit or in mind, but also in body.
In body, because I think that is the disembodied work. To remove a woman from her body is to remove her from her knowing space, from her trusted space, from her intuition, that it all exists within here. And so the nastiest work that can be done is to disembody a woman so that she's disconnected from that femininity, disconnected from that knowing space, when that is exactly where we thrive. That is exactly where our superpowers kind of come into play. So if they can dissemble that, they can dissemble all of us. Our whole entity. And it takes so much to come back to. I think I have a poem in there. It's like, oh, there I am, and there I've always been. I've always been there, but there's been these little narratives and this little disembodied work to get me out of that, you know, but Zumba, yoga, whatever, to get back in, you know. And I think that was the first time I witnessed you at a seminar, but you danced first, and I was like,
what's happening?
What is going on? You're so in your body, and just to witness how healing that is. And so it's like, move, exist in your body, you know. Walking, whatever little things you are able to do, your fingers, just any type of movement to get you back here. Yes.
So with it being an ongoing process, what would you say is the work you're still doing?
Yeah, so even with my book, The Unfolding, I say there's 5 phases, but it's very similar to the phases of grief where they don't happen linear. It's all over at the same time. Then you're back to one of them, you know? And so I do feel like I'm in a new, fresh phase of unfolding all over again. Just seeing things with clearer eyes. You know, the first phase in the unfolding, I say, is the awakening. I feel like I'm awakening to new aspects. At first, it was just mostly faith undoing, and mostly like, that feels like a chain and not freedom. That's not my, you know, fear and insecurity. That someone else's that was put on me. It was all of that. Now I'm very clear of those, but there's a new wave of like, even deeper of like, that's not life-giving. That doesn't feel fruitful for me. You know, being able to say no with a full chest, all of that is where I feel like I'm in now. You know, as I shared earlier, getting in spaces where I have to speak my full truth with my full throat. I've been, you know, that's a lot of my narratives this year. Say it with your whole chest. You know, I am in an unfolding season of having to say things with my whole chest, not biting my tongue. And so I think that is the new wave I'm in now. But I think as we're here, you know, I had someone ask me, like, when do we stop unfolding? And it was kind of a little, you know, contention of like, when do we get back to the black and white? You know, when do we get back to the what is or what isn't? And I said, when we die. So we are ever doing this, you know, ever unfolding, ever changing. And Cicely Tyson has, you know, in that last book that she did, she had shared, I'm always going to be changing. And if I'm not anymore, then I must not be here anymore because I want to keep doing that cycle. Nature does that. Why would we not? Cyclically continue to grow and expand until we're not here anymore to do so.
I love that. The ongoing return to the self as we grow and heal. And I'm just going to read this sentence finally from The Unfolding, which I want you all to get today. It's going to bless your life. Finally, I have finally arrived, she whispered. Where? Back home to myself. And I love that. I have because we wander outside of ourselves, neglecting ourselves, abandoning ourselves, or trying to be somebody else. And so to finally be at home. And I love your reminder about many women doing it in their older years. But we don't have to wait. Like, for goodness sake, don't wait till you're 70 to get free.
Do it today. Do it today. And like, I think the tangible aspects are like, but what does that mean? I'm like, say no to something today if you genuinely want to say no. You know, tap out earlier than you need to. Go for movement, something. Where does your soul thrive? Where is it asking for you to go? Those are the steps in which we get free. The path to getting free. Say no to something. Move your body. Do the things that make you come alive. Thank you so much, Arielle. This has been amazing. Thank you.
And you all need to get The Unfolding. So I invite your soul to tell your heart, mind, body, and spirit, welcome home.